child, the civil rights movement. And I remember as family would huddle around this black and white TV and watch all of the things that were going on in Alabama and Mississippi. Some of my cousins, older cousins, were active in the movement, and every Sunday we would have a large Sunday dinner with the extended family. And they would come back on Sundays and they would tell us about all the things they'd seen and done. And as a child, about 8 or 9 years old, I always wanted to grow up and be a part of that. But by the time I became of age, it was all over. All of the marching was done. I always felt left out, that I didn't get a chance to participate in the civil rights movement. But little did I know that God had another plan for me as a computer instructor and database developer. We as a people had to overcome slavery and, secondly, obtain our civil rights, being able to eat in any restaurant or stay in any hotel that we wanted. But the third piece is economic equality. I'm convinced that to achieve economic equality, it has to be through entrepreneurship. And we must use technology and a strategy of global networking. And that's why I created Every.Black, to use my 30 years of experience as a computer instructor and database developer to use technology to promote our members. We do it in a wide variety of ways. Of course, we list them on the website. We list our members in a directory that is downloadable from the website and our podcast, and distribute it at trade shows and other events. We constantly promote our members on social media and weekly email blasts. Our social media followers and recipients of our email blast numbers in the tens of thousands. With over 30 podcast shows that air weekly, we reach people around the world, educating them about every aspect of becoming an entrepreneur. Where you can be interviewed on one of our podcasts or join Every.Black and have your own podcast. We have a complete package of services catered specifically for the entrepreneur. And last, we conduct weekly mastermind meetings where we read positive books and learn about entrepreneurship while networking with like-minded individuals. Just go to www.every.black to register for our weekly mastermind meetings. And that's what Every.Black is all about. Whether it's through mastermind meetings, providing the members with more exposure through social media and email blast, interviewing the members on podcast, and even providing them with their own podcast. We also make it very affordable for anyone to join, from a basic listing to a bronze, silver, or gold membership. So visit us at Every.Black. Sign up today. Just go to Every.Black, Every.Black. No .com, no .net. Just Every.Black. .black is the new .com.
Y'all heard that, right? .black is the new .com. So now I'm going to go over the mission of Every.Black. Our mission is to assist, educate, and inspire people to create wealth through entrepreneurship by leveraging technology and a strategy of global networking. And how do we do that? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Well, we do that through our membership. And if you have a membership, we do that through the Every.Black directory. And if you are in the directory, we also market you, or if you are a member, we also market you through social media and email blast. We also educate people through the many podcasts that are found on the Every.Black podcast network. And of course, the best way is right here each and every Monday evening at the Every.Black mastermind meetings. So what are the benefits of a mastermind meeting? Well, you can discover solutions to ideas through brainstorming, tap into the experience and knowledge of others, increase your confidence in the decisions you make, be accountable for real progress in your business, obtain an instant and valuable network, develop a sense of family because you are not alone, innovate from new ideas, and last but certainly not least, boost your everyday positive mental attitude, which is something that is so very necessary as an entrepreneur. And our mission is twofold as well. We network with like-minded people, and we also read positive books. And as I said earlier, we are reading Think and Grow Rich. So I'm actually going to turn the floor over to Miss Deborah, right, so she can lead us through our reading. So Miss Deborah, the floor is all yours.
Deborah, you're on mute. Deborah, you're on. There you go.
There I go. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. As Camille indicated, we are reading the book, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, and we are continuing our reading tonight. And so we're starting a section tonight entitled Understanding Black America. Black America requires special understanding. It embraces more than 30 million men, women, and children, and is becoming increasingly younger and more concentrated in urban areas. While it shares many of the concerns so common to American society as a whole, a decent education, a worthwhile career, an opportunity to build or share in an enterprise for one's future, the rearing of a strong and healthy family, and retirement in comfort and dignity. Black America has its own special set of concerns which exert a powerful influence in determining the quality of its life. For instance, there are concerns about schools that do not teach, but graduate functional illiterate, about employment, homelessness, and tens of thousands of blacks who have never held a job, about the staggering increase of families headed by single women, about violence in crimes where blacks are both the principal victims as well as perpetrators. But the idea of monolithic Black America, if ever real, has become artificial since the Civil Rights movement. While it implies a unified community that defies today's adversity, the images presented by it are both jarring and inconsistent. On one hand, as of this writing, The Cosby Show is top rated. Brian Gumbel and Oprah Winfrey are among the most respected hosts of morning network news and talk programs, and an ever-growing number of blacks have grasped the key to power in spectacular fashion. Dr. Clifton Wharton, for instance, saw race as no burden as he assumed his rightful place to head the nation's largest private pension fund. General Colin Powell, who, like Hannibal and Henry Flipper, paragons who had gone before him, beat black odds to become America's first soldier. All her life, Spelman College's Janetta Cole had to elbow her way to the table. Now she is a black woman marked for greatness. Show me someone content with mediocrity, she said, and I'll show you someone destined for failure. And Ron Brown, chairman of the National Democratic Party, is an agent of historic change. Throughout his life, he had to sidestep barriers constructed to defeat him. My goal, he says unapologetically, is to make it more difficult for people to say, but. These men and women believed that life was meant to be more than a continual struggle, a challenge to be met by working a little harder than was necessary, by carrying themselves one step further than what was required, and by proving, if proof was still necessary, that the actualized power of their potential was greater than any measure of racism which sought to restrain them. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the proportion of Black professionals and managers has doubled since 1960. Also, Black poverty, as officially measured by the Joint Center of Political Studies, has declined by nearly one half. Blacks as a whole have moved from a position of utter destitution in terms of wealth, education, and human rights to a place alongside their ethnic counterparts, though none have had to come from so far back to join the ranks. On the other hand, however, some appalling trends still cloud these gains. Consider the following facts. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the proportion of Black children born out of wedlock in 1989 was nearly 60%. More than half of all Black children are reared in fatherless homes. 31% of Black Americans live in poverty. 45% of all Black children live in families with incomes below the poverty line. The Black unemployment rate is twice that of whites and Asians. For every Black earning $36,000, there were 12 Blacks living below the poverty line. The 8,000 or so Black Americans who lost their lives due to Black-on-Black violence in 1989 is equal to the number of Black servicemen killed in action during the entire Vietnam conflict, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Black males particularly have edged precariously close to becoming an endangered species. More than 40% of inmates in federal and state prison are Black. There are more Black males in prison and correctional facilities than on college campuses. A Carnegie Foundation report states that the Black high school dropout rate in many urban areas exceeds 40%. In some inner cities, the rate is more than 50%. I'll turn it over to you, Jimmy.
Okay. Well, just some of those statistics I thought were, you can tell that the book is a bit dated when it refers to things going on in 1989, but still, I think the picture hasn't changed a whole lot since then. So, any thoughts or comments about the reading tonight? And you should be able to take yourself off mute at this time.
Yes, everyone should be able to take themselves off mute and ask your question or make your comment at this time.
I believe the statistics are an eye-opener.
Yeah, like I agree. Like I said, I don't know. I'd have to look and see exactly the year this book was written. So it is a little dated, but still, I don't think that the numbers are that far off, percentage-wise.
There, and it says right there in 1989. So I'll be curious to see where they are now, given that many years ago.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Yes, indeed. I would say that I agree. If not worse, those numbers are worse. Those percentages are worse due to what's been happening in communities at large, because a lot of what's happening in the world today, it does affect shall we say, the literacy. And I don't want to say just because I'm a teacher and degrees and so forth, I don't want anybody to get the wrong picture, but the situation is true. When it's just an option, you have more options and you're able to do more and you're able to help more people when you are learned, as they say. And they used to say that even when we were learning how to, or before our ancestors were learning how to read in the dirt with a stick, we need to get back to that, because it's a reflection of what's taking place these days. It's not working. And the achievement gap that they were talking about in 1989, whether it was 1985, is still similar to today. So we do have to revamp what's taking place in the schools, because it's just really not working. And it's only a few really good, strong, from the hood teachers that can take people back to, if you don't have the supplies here, we can create the supplies by what the junk mail that comes through the mailbox and so forth. We can make things happen. So we need to get back to those things, because a lot of our children and future generations will suffer if we don't, because what we were doing, it was working. What happened back in the day, it did work.
Let me ask you, Nichelle, are you an educator? Did you say you were?
Yes, this is my 22nd year.
Okay, and where are you? What city?
I'm in LA, California.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it just, everybody, if you would just let everyone know who you are and where you are, because we're literally getting people calling in from all over the country. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the comments, though, and the thoughts.
Real quick, I'm raising my hand.
Okay.
This is Mark Ham in Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to Stan Anderson and Mr. G. Davis and Miss Kim. So I was listening to, and I didn't catch her name, the teacher from LA.
Nichelle Farrell. My name is Nichelle Farrell. I didn't see Bobby Buck because I can't see anybody. This is on a different, unlike when I'm teaching school on Zoom, I can see everybody. So I didn't know if he was online or not, but he did tell me that he wanted to introduce me to you all. But yeah, when it wasn't something, I just got the floor to be able to share some information. So I just unmuted myself in the video. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if he really wanted to still introduce me or what, but
Oh, that's okay. You're
yes,
fine.
my name is Nichelle Farrell. I'm a teacher 22 years. I have a master's degree in administration supervision. I've taught in Watts. I've taught public school, private school, charter school. I'm even Montessori certified. I'm from Compton, California. I'm a self-published author of 101 books. My goal is to be a self-published author of 200 books. That's what I'm working on right now. Yes, I did work during the daytime. This year, I just happened to teach third grade online, which is held in the school. It's a charter school that's held inside the Lakers youth challengers building, which is really, really neat. So we do a lot of different activities, and I'm also the education director for the West Coast Universal Hip Hop Museum. I'm an A&R person. I do a lot of different things from education, entertainment, and entrepreneurship. I'm a person behind the scenes. So I've been trying to get here, but sorry, this is my first.
Well, we're glad you're here. That's a mouthful. I think Mark had a statement. Let's see, Mr. Jones has a statement. So yeah. Mark and then Mr. Jones.
Ms. Farrell, I was just commenting on something that you mentioned about, the inner city kids or people that are less fortunate becoming more educated and getting back to grassroots. You mentioned writing in the dirt. And so my question to everybody here is, you have a bunch of people here, and I don't mean on this call, but I just mean here in life, that want to learn. And then you have a bunch of people in the rest of the world that don't care about learning. And I grew up in the inner city, and a lot of times the people who did not want to learn would prevent some of the people who did want to learn. They had to work 10 times harder just to go to class, and they have a distraction from those who didn't want to learn. And so my question to everyone is, how do we elevate our group of people who want to learn despite the people that are distracting them? How do we do that? You have a bunch of people that will go out of their way to keep people from learning. And I'm not talking about the system. I'm just talking about everyday kids going to school, taking the wrong route to school or get in school, and bullying and all that kind of stuff. You have all that going on. How do they become gifted, talented, mindful people like yourself? I think it's harder now than it was back in the day. That's just my opinion.
Okay, Mr. Jones, you're on mute. And after Mr. Jones, we're going to have to continue on. Mr. Jones. I think Mark's question is a good one. Because of time, we're not going to be able to address it tonight, but we're going to be reading this book for quite a while. And I think this is maybe an ongoing discussion that we can continue to have. So, but thank you both, Nichelle, for coming in, joining us, and also for Mark for your comments as well. I thought Mr. Jones had his hand raised, but anyway, we're going to move on. What we try to do also each week is highlight a member. And this week we're recognizing Charisma Jules. And she's the podcast host of Cliches, Figures of Speech. And anyway, she actually is one of our most popular podcast shows that's on our Every.Black Entrepreneur Podcast Network. And she's been producing shows for almost 2 years now. So we just wanted to recognize her for her shows, and just her as a member of the week. I like the quote that she has: "May we live to learn and learn to live." We also want to encourage you to call in to Stan and Doris Anderson's Motivation Readers Mastermind Network every Tuesday through Saturday morning from 8 a.m. Eastern to 8:30. where they also read positive books and have book discussion. I know a few of the members are on tonight. So Rashida is on, and they're now moved over to Zoom for their morning reading. And then we also want to recognize or mention Adasha Turner, who's actually in Seattle, Washington, as a member of Every.Black, and she's helping organize the youth that want to have podcasts for youth. So we work with the youth every Saturday at 12 noon to make sure that they can set up their podcast shows for the youth. And if you know of anyone that would like to be a part of that, any young folks, then feel free to contact us. We'll be glad to include them in that. And then we also, this is actually Fred Foreman with One Blood Unity. He is helping sponsor a community drive-through dinner on Thanksgiving. I know they've been doing that for several years now, but this year it's going to be a drive-through dinner on Thursday, November 26th at New Generation Christian Church in Smithville, North Carolina. And again, if you want any information about any of these events, we try to put them in the chat area, or also you can contact us. We'll be glad to get it to you as well. And I want to mention also that we're always looking for people to highlight in the OTC Beauty magazine. And this is authored by Lafayette Jones in the Urban Call Briefs column. And it comes out monthly. It's a national publication. And we've had a number of our members that have been able to get listed in there. We're always looking for additional members. And then that's, of course, Lafayette Jones and Senator Miller Jones. If you weren't on the call a few nights ago when Mr. Jones shared his story, you really missed a treat. It was spellbinding. Great information from years ago. And then also Mrs. Jones, Sandra Miller Jones, provides information about Obamacare. And I don't know if Ms. Jones is available tonight. Well, if she is, just chime in. But what the point is that they want to make sure that you're aware that affordable health care is available to you, regardless of your situation. You'll be surprised that you may qualify for Obamacare, and it is the law. Regardless of the time of year, you may still qualify. It doesn't have to be during the normal enrollment period. They have what's called a special enrollment period. And then if you are interested or if you need health insurance, please call that number and they'll be glad to help you with that. And they don't charge you, but they will help you get situated with your health insurance. And then we also want to always mention Every.Black, let you know a little bit about that. And we encourage you to visit our website at www.every.black. It's like no .com, no .net, just .black. And you can actually click on the Search Now button and pull up all the members. Every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have a membership benefits orientation, where we outline and inform people about the benefits of being a member of Every.Black. And then one of the benefits is being listed in our directory that's downloadable from the website. We also include it on all of our podcasts. And then also the email blast that we send out to over 7,000 people now every Monday. So by being a member, we include your events in that email blast. You just get it to us, as well as on our social media, primarily LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And by being a member, we just share whatever the members are doing. We also provide technology training every Friday at 3 p.m. to help the members, especially right now during COVID, because we're all forced to go virtual. And then we also have a virtual study hall every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern, where we just get online and we work on our businesses together. We, after about the first 5 minutes, we put everyone on mute, and then we take a break about midway through with the song. And then we go back to work until 9 a.m. Now, you don't have to call in right at 9. You don't have to stay right at 6. You don't have to stay till 9. But it's just a time to just quiet at work and to let you know you're not by yourself getting your work done on your business. It helps you become much more productive. And then we also encourage you to visit our podcasts, the Every.Black Entrepreneur Podcast Network at entrepreneurship.black. These links are also on the website on www.every.black. And as Camille said, of course, the mastermind meetings every Monday evening. And we just actually finished, this is day number 8. We've done a marathon over this past week, but that's not normal. And then the last thing is at midnight tonight, our rates are going up. But if you join today, then you can go to Every.Black/join, and you'll be locked in at those rates. As long as you're an active member, you would be identified as a charter member. And then we'll also have a program to earn commissions if you bring on new people. So at this time, we always share a Bible verse that Kim's prepared for us, and then we'll be bringing on our speaker.
Greetings, Every.Black family and guests on this call today. I'll be reading our scripture out of the book of Psalms, chapter 100, verse 4. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. We are in the season of Thanksgiving. Let's all praise the Lord for his goodness and mercy. Amen.
Amen.
Jimmy, you're muted. Jimmy?
Yes, I realize.
Okay.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I was just going to introduce Gene here.
Gene Filippo is an associate of fundmyhome.org based in Raleigh, North Carolina. Fund My Home, in collaboration with real estate mortgage grants and down payment assistance, fosters home ownership by providing down payment assistance in a simple and expedited process to all participating mortgage qualified home buyers. It assists in the approval process of mortgage loans by providing homeowners with the funds they need towards their down payment and closing costs, and does so without income restrictions. Gene is also a proponent of cryptocurrency. As an Every.Black member, he's been telling us about it for the last year. So we thought it was time to give him the platform to inform us all about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and more. At this time, I present to you Gene Filippo.
And just, Gene, before you start, I did have to queue up a video that you wanted to share. That explains about Bitcoin, and then
at a very basic level, Bitcoin is just a digital file or ledger that contains names and balances, and people exchange money by changing this file. When Bob sells Carol a lawnmower for 5.2 Bitcoins, Bob's balance goes up by 5.2 and Carol's down by 5.2. There's no gold or government-issued money backing these numbers. Bob is only willing to trade his real-life lawnmower for a higher number in this digital file because he has faith that other people will also trust the system. So who maintains this ledger and makes sure no one cheats? One goal of Bitcoin is to avoid any centralized control, so every participant maintains their own copy of the ledger. One surprising consequence of this is that everyone can see everyone else's balances, although the real system only uses account numbers and not names, so there's some level of anonymity. If everyone maintains their own ledger, how are all the ledgers kept in sync as money is transferred? At a basic level, when you want to send money, you simply tell everyone else by broadcasting a message with your account number, the receivers, and the amount. Everyone across the entire world then updates their ledger. As a quick aside, I'm describing how Bitcoin works for power users, people who help maintain the system. You can also just use the system to send and receive money, though, without maintaining a ledger. If sending money is as simple as creating a message with some account numbers, what's to stop a thief, Alice, from spending Bob's money by using his account number? Like a pen and paper check, Bitcoin requires a kind of signature to prove that the sender is the real owner of an account, but is based on math rather than handwriting. When a new account number is created, it comes along with a private key mathematically linked to that account number. If you've heard of a Bitcoin wallet, these keys are what it holds and are what allow you to create signatures. To create a signature, a private key and the text from a transaction are fed into a special cryptographic function. Another function allows other people to check the signature, making sure it was created by the account owner and that it applies to that specific transaction. Unlike the handwritten version, these signatures can't be copied and reused in the future, as they're unique to each transaction. While the mathematical signatures prove who sent a transaction, they can't prove when it was sent, and this turns out to be problematic. In our traditional banking system, if Alice wrote 2 checks but only had enough money to cover one of them, the bank would pay the first person attempting to cash his check but refuse the second because Alice's account would be empty. So the order of these checks is critical because it determines who should get paid. Unfortunately, order is much harder to determine in Bitcoin, where instead of a single bank, there are individuals all over the world. Network delays might cause transactions to arrive in different orders in different places, and fraudsters could lie about timestamps. Two recipients might both think their transaction is first and ship a product, effectively allowing Alice to spend money twice. Bitcoin prevents this by providing a way for the entire world to decide on transaction order. As new transactions are created, they go into a pool of pending transactions, and from here they'll be sorted into a giant chain that locks in their order. To select which transaction is next, a kind of mathematical lottery is held. Participants select a pending transaction of their choice and begin trying to solve a special problem that will link it to the end of the chain. The first person to find a solution wins and gets to have their transaction selected as next in the chain. So what's this linking problem? It's based on a special function called a cryptographic hash. As scary as this sounds, it just mixes up its inputs and spits out a number, but it's special because it's irreversible. There's no easy way to start with an output and then find an input that generates it other than by making lots of guesses. And this is literally what people are doing in Bitcoin, feeding this function random numbers until the output meets certain criteria. Besides a random guess, you also input a transaction from the pending pool and chain, which is where the linking part comes in. So the lottery provides a way for the entire world to decide which transaction is next, but the math behind it also helps ensure everyone agrees about past transactions too. Suppose you're joining the network for the first time and request a copy of the transaction chain to get caught up but receive several different versions. Which one should you trust? Ideally, you would trust the one that the majority of people are using, but determining this on the internet is difficult. What would stop a single person from voting millions of times? Bitcoin prevents this by requiring people to solve math problems to vote. This causes each vote to have a cost in computing power, making it unlikely that a single person or group could ever afford to outvote or outcompute the majority of users. The transaction ordering process described before actually provides the voting system. Part of the input to the linking problem is a transaction from the end of a chain, so each guess is effectively a vote for that chain. But how are all the votes tallied? Because the cryptographic hash function has well-defined statistical properties, you can look at any given answer and estimate how many guesses it took to find it, just like estimating how many coin flips it would take to get 100 heads in a row. So the links in a chain not only put transactions in order, but also act as an effective vote tally, making it easy to see which chain most people are using. Finally, how does money get created? Every time someone wins the lottery to pick the next transaction in the chain, new bitcoins are created out of thin air and awarded to their account. Solving these problems is commonly called mining, as this is how money enters the system, but the main purpose of the math is to make sure everyone's ledgers agree. The math simply provides a convenient way to randomly distribute money into the world. In fact, sometime around 2140, no more money will be created, and participants will only be paid from fees added onto transactions. I hope this gives you a quick sense for how Bitcoin works. If you'd like a more detailed summary, check out my 22-minute video, How Bitcoin Works Under the Hood.
I'm going to stop the sharing now, and Gene, it's all yours.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you guys for being in this tonight event. My name is Gene Filippo, and in today's presentation, we're going to talk about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and what does it take. But first, before we talk about that form of currency, we're going to talk about money and why our society is going to this new platform. As a society, we used to trade one-on-one. So what does that mean? We used to trade livestock for another livestock. So a long time ago, one professional would exchange their goods for another good. For example, a fisherman would exchange their fish with a farmer that is selling milk. Then the next generation wanted a new system. So they decide to exchange goods and services for gold and silver. So after going through that, the next generation didn't want to carry a bag of gold and silver coins. So instead, they decide to exchange goods and services for the fiat, aka the money, which was a good thing. It was light, it was easy to carry, easy to exchange. What made it profitable was our money was backed by gold, and it had a gold standard. In 1960, President Nixon needed assistance and needed more money in rotation. So they froze the gold standard and removed the gold from the dollar, which allowed the U.S. Treasury to print money. In society eyes, that might not be a bad idea. What people did not understand, when the treasurer printed money, that made the money in your pocket lose value. And when that happened, that caused inflation. Inflation is when you have more money in the system, but have less product or service, which caused the price of goods and services to go up. In today's market, your $1 is now worth 5 cents. For example, 1 gallon of milk in 1999 was about $1.50. Now it's almost $5 for that same gallon of milk. We saw as society what could happen with the high inflation. This is what happened in 2008 with the market crash and the home crash that happened in that year. When that happened, that made society rethink about their money and how they should control more of their money. That is when we decide to educate ourselves on money, how to save it, and how and what not to do to make sure that our past does not make the same mistake. So a smaller group of people thought to themselves, why can't we be our own banker? And that is when cryptocurrency was created. Crypto is short for cryptographic. Crypto is a compound for a meaning of hiding, secret, used in a form of compound word, cryptographic. Cryptocurrency is a short term for digital money. For example, you had Cash App, PayPal, their form of cryptocurrency. One cryptocurrency most people know is called Bitcoin. And what makes cryptocurrency so important is cryptocurrency cannot be controlled, manipulated, printed, or taken over. Also, there's a limit amount of cryptocurrency that's going to be created, which makes it more valuable. That means it's more valuable than gold, real estate, and even silver. So you're telling yourself, why is this important and why should I learn this, which I believe is the important information? Well, one Bitcoin in today's value is over 16,500. When Bitcoin started in 2008, Bitcoin was only 8 cents. Society is changing fast, and with the new technology, we need to know how to have more control of our money. And what we do can change the next generation and make sure that they don't make the same mistake that we did in the past. So with the education of crypto, I teach people on how to build a portfolio value, how to set it up on autopilot, where they can earn crypto in the Forex market, which that market is a $6.7 trillion industry per day, unlike the stock market, which is only a $25 billion industry per day. Forex market is a system which the industry is earned currency like Bitcoin. With this system, you can earn it yourself, but with this part of skill set, it can typically take an average person 3 to 5 years to learn before making real money with crypto. But with our system, I break it down so you can understand it faster, long term, and even be comfortable with the skill set and education. I also show you how to use it and benefit from it, how it can protect you and your family from the next crisis, what crypto and how many currencies are out there, how can you buy it, how can you sell it, how you can earn it, and how you can protect yourself. With our system, we make it more comfortable for you to understand and earn Bitcoin, how to build a retirement plan, and how this and much more, which shows you on how to become your own banker and change the platform of success and change your lifestyle and family lives. So at this time, if you have any questions.
Yeah, this is Jimmy. One of the misconceptions that I had about Bitcoin is that I thought it was an actual coin, but it's not an actual coin.
Right.
And
No, it's digital. It's digital currency, and what most people don't realize is the money that's in your pocket in the bank world. That's a digital currency. So when you go to the bank and you say, "Okay, I have $1,000 in my bank account," the bank don't say you got $1,000 in the bank account. The bank only reads that $1,000 with zeros and ones. So they identify that $1,000 by codes that's in their computer to identify that your account is worth $1,000. Now, we as a society, we only know physical money, paper money, but we are more changing more often to digital money. I'd say about in society world, probably about 90% do not carry cash anymore. They carry a form of cash, which is like a check book or a credit card or debit card. But we physically do not carry cash anymore. And what a lot of people think is, oh, is cash going to die if this Bitcoin takes over? Cash will never die. It will just be digital. Eventually, it will be digital itself. So cash will never die. We still will pay with cash, but instead of paying with physical paper money, we'll be paying with some form of digital money like credit cards or PayPal or Android or Apple Pay, Cash App. So we'll be paying a form of digital money, one way or the other, if you like it or not.
well, let me ask you, and I'm sure other people have some questions too, but from my understanding, okay, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is just one form of cryptocurrency. Is that right?
Yeah,
Bitcoin is one.
Cryptocurrency is just a umbrella of all the cryptocurrencies out there, but Bitcoin is just one form of cryptocurrency.
Okay.
The most popular ones we have in today's market is we got Bitcoin, which is I guess you could say like the 2.0 of gold. Then we have Ethereum, which is the 2.0 of silver. Then we have Bitcoin Cash, and we have Litecoin, which is like bronze and aluminum. So we have other cryptocurrencies. All of them don't have the same technology. All of them are not used the same way. Bitcoin is just the most popular one because that's the one that you will hear more often in the media.
So again, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this.
Oh, you're fine.
So if I've got Bitcoin, I mean, versus some of the others that you just mentioned, does that mean I can still have transactions with other people that have other types of cryptocurrency?
No.
So do I only have to interact with people that only have Bitcoin if I have Bitcoin?
Yes, but you also have in the tech world, you also have where you can convert that Bitcoin to other currency. So just imagine your Bitcoin is the United States, and another coin, which is Ethereum, is Canadian. So you don't just spend US dollar in Canadian, you have to convert that US dollar to Canadian money to spend that Canadian money. So just like cryptocurrencies, to spend money on another platform, you have to convert that Bitcoin to the other platform to spend that platform.
Okay.
Dean, this is Kim.
Hey, Kim.
Hey, I'm just wondering, how easy is it to get the different types of crypto? Is it a process, or how does it work?
It's easy as converting your money, your US dollar, to that currency. So if, let's say, I want to go to Mexico for vacation, I go to the bank and say, I'm going to Mexico for a week. I need my money to be pesos. They'll take my US dollar and they'll convert it to pesos where I can send it, where I can go and spend that peso to in Mexico. Cryptocurrency work the same way. If I say, hey, I want $500 worth of Bitcoin, I will then go to the digital world, which is the bank, and convert my US dollar to Bitcoin, and then now I have $500 worth of Bitcoin.
Gene?
Yes.
This is Earl Rayford from Lexington, Kentucky.
Hey, Earl.
Quick question. You have mentioned that you become your own banker, which I'm delighted that I can sort of take the banks out of the equation and become. Would you speak a little bit more on how that process occurs when you're becoming your own banker?
Yes. So what most people don't realize is in today's market, our dollar in our bank account is getting stolen from the bank. So every time you put money in the bank, the bank says, hey, I'm going to take this money, I'm going to loan it to somebody, I'm going to charge that person 4.75 interest rate for a car or a house. They're going to pay me back that money back plus the interest rate. And then Jimmy, because I borrowed your money, I'm only going to give you less than a penny at the end of the year. I made thousands of dollars out of your money, but I'm only going to give you a penny for borrowing your money. Oh, and then plus you owe us $5 service fee for that year. So you gave me $100. You come back with $96, $95. So with this form of cryptocurrency and being possession of it, you are becoming your own banker because you're able to own something that has value, that's earning you money that the bank cannot produce for you.
So are you saying
you're moving from being the creditor to being the debtor to the creditor?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So you're saying, and forgive me if someone else has questions, please jump in. But I'm really trying hard to understand this thing. So you said like there's no transaction fees, and the other thing is who maintains all these computers that's managing this system?
So that's a two-part question. So yeah. The first one is there is a transaction fee when you're buying and selling Bitcoin. But if you're giving somebody that Bitcoin, or you're selling something and you're receiving Bitcoin, or you're buying something and you're giving that person Bitcoin, no, there's no transaction fee. The second question is who regulates and control Bitcoins? They're regulated and controlled by miners. So miners will monitor the transaction, and then they have to verify that transaction by solving a mathematic solution. By solving the mathematic solution, the cryptocurrency world says, hey, because you solved this solution, you earn this amount of Bitcoin. And you're confirming that transaction for somebody. Now, a lot of people saying, well, what happened if all the miners got shut down? Well, that's also gonna, if that happens, we went back to the tombstones, because not only did the miners shut down, but all the internet in the world shut down. So that is why it can't be controlled by one person, by one country, by one government, because if one country shuts down, every country in the world shuts down. And that's not just Bitcoin, that is the internet. So that means the cashiers that runs off the internet is shut down. Your bank that runs off the internet is shut down. Your job that runs off the internet shuts down. Your electricity that's run off the internet shut down. So we basically going back to the, tombstones to basically try to pick up where we left off.
So if I'm understanding correctly, just to use Bitcoin, you don't have to be a miner solving math problems.
No. To use it, you get what's called a digital wallet, and that will allow you to hold your Bitcoin, but you can purchase Bitcoin through certain platforms, and you're just converting one currency, which is the US dollar, pesos, or Canadian or African Ram, into cryptocurrency. That's also what makes cryptocurrency popular, is because you can buy Bitcoin in any country in the world. It's not just the US, it's not a Canadian thing, it's not a Mexican thing. You can buy cryptocurrency anywhere in the world, because you're converting the currency that's in your hand into Bitcoin currency, and vice versa. So I can take my Bitcoin, go to Africa, convert my Bitcoin into RAM, which is African money, and then spend RAM money like everybody else in Africa is spending money.
This is Olivia Carey, North Carolina, and you do have questions in the chat room too that you probably want to address. But quickly, what I'm trying to find out, this is so digital. If I went into a store, do I just tell the cashier that I'm using this Bitcoin? I mean, do I spend it with them?
So what a lot of people are realizing is the valuable of cryptocurrency. So there's companies that are now implementing their system to accept cryptocurrency, either in the form of a debit credit card or a form of a digital platform. So if you ever go to Walmart and Walmart cashier says, "Hey, do you know you can pay with the Walmart app?" And if you ever go to the cashier and you see the little square QR code in front of you, that's a form of cryptocurrency.
Okay.
So what you're doing is you download the app, you inputted your credit card, and then you scan that app to pay for your products. Then the app basically pulls into your wallet, takes the money out, and then put it into the Walmart payment system.
Okay.
What makes that makes it more safe, because Walmart, when they take a digital copy of that, it's a random 16 number. It is not your actual credit card information. So that's why I always tell people paying with Apple Pay or paying with Samsung Pay is actually safer than swiping your credit card. Because when you swipe your credit card at Walmart, you're giving them a digital copy of your credit card. But when you're paying with Apple Pay, Cash App, Walmart Pay, you're giving them a random 16 number. So if Walmart ever get hacks, they do not have your credit card information. So, for example, when Target got hacked and everybody's credit card information was stolen, everybody that paid with a physical card had to contact their bank and advise them they need a new debit card.
Right. Okay. It still sounds a little complicated to me, and I'm sure there's some training and some information that you would make available to us.
Yes, I do.
Mm.
I was just curious. Also, I'm seeing in the chat area. I was just curious if someone else on the call has experience with crypto. Can you share your experience, or anyone, if you bought it or used it, or?
Well, this is Earl. I actually just bought into to Bitcoin, and I did it as a savings mode, and we're talking long term. And so what I've decided to do is to continue to contribute to it as I see and begin to track the increases in it. Now, obviously, there's no guarantee because you're dealing with that kind of thing, but you're able to track it, and you're able to see what is advancing or what is minusing in the process.
Okay. Anyone else with any experience with it? Thanks for sharing, Earl.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask Gene. I'm hearing that Europe is widely using cryptocurrency, probably much more advanced than, let's just say, the United States or North America. Is that true?
Yes, and that's because they're realizing their paper money is losing value. So, for example, in the late 80s, early 90s, the Philippines, their money was so inflated that it was considered trash. They actually had, this was when we had newspaper, they actually had a report where they showed people going to the grocery store with wheelbarrows of money just to buy groceries because the value of money was so inflated that it for a whole chicken costs $1,000. For a gallon of milk costs $10,000 for a gallon of milk. That the government had to basically recreate their money because the money that they previously had was so inflated that they had to create a new currency for themselves. And the United States is in a tipping point of being in that same format. That is why a lot of countries like Europe, especially China, are going digital with their money because they see it more, it reduces the inflation and it creates more comfortability of people buying the product versus every year the product goes up to the point where people can't afford it. And when people can't afford it, the market crash, business go out of business, and then the government loses money because just like here in the U.S., the government don't make money if corporations don't make money.
Hey, Gene, this is Chris Downey. How you doing, brother?
Hey, good.
Hey, how is cryptocurrency protected? How is it insured?
So cryptocurrency, there is no insurance. You are the banker, you are the CEO, you are the janitor, you are the secretary of your own banker. So if you out of the cryptocurrency wallets that has been created and out of the bitcoins that has already been purchased, $2.8 million of Bitcoin is lost. And that's because somebody either lost their private key and don't know how to access their account, or something happened to where they lost their cryptocurrency. So you are truly the banker of your cryptocurrencies. And if you do not know how to protect your cryptocurrencies, you can lose it. When I say lose it, doesn't mean it disappeared, doesn't mean somebody stole it. It just means you nor anybody else doesn't have access to it. So when you purchase it, you have to know how to protect it, how to move it, and there's devices out there where you can actually hold your cryptocurrency out of the internet world. It's called soft tip of my tongue. It's called soft hold. What that means is you're moving your cryptocurrency away from the device, like your cell phone or your laptop, and putting it somewhere where you have access to it. That device has its own private key, so you must know how to use the private key if you're trying to move your Bitcoin from one device to another. That's the same thing as if I bought Bitcoin right now through my wallet. My wallet has a private key. If something happens to my device, as long as I know how to access the private key, I can access my Bitcoin. So my phone can be dropped in the water. I get a new phone. Because I know my private key, I can move my cryptocurrency from my old device to my new device.
This Carlos has a question, and then we're going to have to move on because we'll be here all night. But personally, I'm just trying to understand. But Carlos, you had a question.
I got a quick one, right? I just want to know. So you know, I sell real estate, and we don't accept Bitcoin. We don't accept cryptocurrency. People who sell vehicles don't accept it. How like it's I understand the you know, you exchange your money with individuals, but at what point will we be able to exchange that money and buy actual product? Like is there a list of companies that accept Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, and is that list growing? You know, like
so the list right now that accept Bitcoin, you got Uber, you got Starbucks, you got Lowe's, you got Nike, AT&T, Home Depot, you got you even got companies that you can move your Bitcoins into a debit card. So you got Visa, you got MasterCard that accept cryptocurrencies. AT&T was actually the first company that accept Bitcoin as a form of payment. You got companies like cable companies that accept Bitcoin. Apple accept Bitcoin. So the list is growing as far as corporation that's accepting Bitcoin, to the point now even banks are accepting cryptocurrencies. You got JC Morgan who first said Bitcoin is a pile of whatever in a box. Now that they see the value of it, they're even accepting Bitcoin, and to the point now that Bitcoin is part of the Forex market. So if you go to the New York stock market, you will find Bitcoin in the New York stock market.
You can buy a Lamborghini with Bitcoin.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, this is really interesting. We're going to maybe revisit this again. But I'm thinking to maybe even demonstrate a live transaction or something. I don't know, but this is interesting. But what we're going to do now is go into breakout rooms so you can have your discussion in smaller groups, and make sure you introduce yourselves. We have quite a few people on the line tonight, so introduce yourselves to one another. And then just to let you know, I'll be moving Gene around from room to room so you can interact with him directly. So we're going to go ahead and do our breakout rooms now. But thank you for sharing that information with us, Gene, and for all the questions.
You're welcome.
And make sure everybody that they put questions in the chat if your question did not get answered, because there's a ton of them. When Gene Wow, how interesting.